Hi guys, I'm Ben from Adaptalux and welcome back to the monthly macro photography competition where every month we change the theme and you guys can come and enter some of your own macro photos for a chance to win some prizes. We'll deal with this month's theme and prizes in just a moment, and then we're going to take a look at some of the entries and pick some winners for last month's theme. So this month is October, and of course we have to go on theme with Halloween. The theme this month is going to be spooky, creepy, any Halloween themed photos that you guys have or can take in the next month or so. You can head over to the Adaptalux Facebook group and enter them as a comment on the pinned post. I'll put a link down in the description and up in the top right hand corner of your screen with a bit more details, but essentially you just need to head over to the Adaptalux Facebook group and enter your photos on the pinned post. Once again, all of that is linked down in the description. Now we need some new prizes this month. So the first prize winner is going to get one of our mini tripods, and the runner-up a 100mm clip-on phone macro lens. Both really handy little tools for taking your macro photography out on the go. With the theme for this month all settled, we need to head over to the computer and take a look at some of the entries from last month. So there guys, here we are on the Adaptalux macro photography community group on Facebook, and last month's theme was time. So really interesting theme that can be interpreted in a lot of ways, and we did get a lot of different entries with a lot of different interpretations. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go through all of them, no pun intended, but we are going to be taking a look at some notable entries and of course picking a winner and a runner-up. So let's get started with our first notable entry. So for our first notable entry, we've got Jeff's tritium watch face. Now these glowing elements are glowing because of radiation, and putting that little radioactive symbol into this shot really hammers that home. So we've got this dark black watch face with the nice crisp white numbers here, but then of course that glowing green just brings a tiny amount of color into the shot, and really hammers home how strange it is to put radioactive elements right on our wrists. So this is certainly a very interesting photo. It's a good macro photo as well. It's nice and sharp and very close up. So thank you very much for your entry, Jeff. We hope to see more like this in future competitions. Next up, we've got Tad, who has interpreted this theme quite differently and tried to do something a little bit out of the ordinary and incorporate a little bit of abstract here as well. So first of all, we've got this this watch in the middle here, which is quite a nice watch. It's nice and sharp. I think it says School of Mines, State of Colorado. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Tad, but this is apparently Tad's college watch that he's since stopped wearing. But then he's created this hourglass of paper around the outside of the watch with some inverted colors as well, apparently. So Tad's used the Adaptalux colored arms to light this in amber, I think, and then inverted it to create blue. So this is a really interesting way to approach watch photography, and I think it really makes the watch in the middle here stand out. I'm not sure whether the hourglass has been fully achieved. I think they usually go inwards in the middle, but nevertheless it's a really interesting way to frame the watch in the frame of the image. So thank you very much for your entry, Tad, and very well done. Next up, we've got Chris, who has been idling away the time in lockdown. He says he was obviously working very hard that day, playing around with little railway models, of course, sat on top of a watch. And the choice of model here is really nice. The guy is clearly idling away his time, but then the juxtaposition of it being sat on top of a timepiece as well is really nice. And the photography here is great as well. It's got this really soft background, and the bokeh dropping off along the watch strap over here is really nice. So overall, this is just a nice feel-good, whimsical photo from Chris. So thank you very much for your entry. Rachel's entered again with a very interesting interpretation of time. This one titled Frozen in Time, and she's taken that title very, very literally and frozen some cogs and small timepieces inside ice cubes, which are notoriously very difficult to photograph. So not only has Rachel thought outside of the box for the theme, she's also quite expertly managed to photograph ice without it just looking like a blurry mess of highlights and reflections. So very well done, Rachel, for managing your ice, but also for thinking outside of the box and coming up with a really interesting and unique take on this month's theme. Thank you very much for your entry. Now, talking about hourglasses, Patrick has photographed an hourglass that is apparently running in the opposite direction. So this is clearly full of some sort of liquid, and the little balls are floating upwards instead of sand, grains of sand falling downwards. But this is just a really nice abstract photo with a lot of color, a lot of shape in here, and nice composition, making that center of the hourglass right in the center of the photograph, and the bit that's in focus. So it really draws the eye down to these little orbs in the middle here, whereas the ones on the edges are starting to get a little bit blurred. And I think we even have some motion blur just here as the balls move upwards. So overall, this is just a really nice photograph to look at. Lots of nice vivid colors. So thank you very much for your entry, Patrick. Every month we do like to highlight the most popular photographs based on the number of likes and things from the community. So even if you're not entering some photos, you can come and like your favorites and go and get your family and friends to like some of your photos if you want to be featured in these videos. And I believe that was actually it was maybe Scott's idea in the first place, so it's quite fitting that he is our popular vote winner for this month. And this is a really nice photograph of what I think is some sort of faux cogs. These aren't real cogs here, they're melded together here, so I don't believe this can actually spin. It's maybe some sort of ornament instead of a working timepiece, but it still does do that job of portraying time, moving cogs inside a watch maybe. And it's really interesting with all of these splattered black marks all over here. Maybe this is some ink, or perhaps it's part of the design, or maybe some oil or something like that. So do let us know, Scott. I'd like to see a picture of this full item with these, you can see screws and things here disappearing into the nice bokeh in the background. But this is a lovely photograph, and it's well deserving of all of those likes. So thank you very much for your entry. For our runner-up this month, we've got Tony's photo here. It's quite meaningful. It says, "One day there won't be a tomorrow," which is, well, might be a little bit depressing, but that's dependent on your own interpretation here. We've got a little model of presumably an older fella here stood next to a nice timepiece, and I think this is probably composited in here into a sand bank in the middle of a desert. But this is just quite a poignant photograph. It's an interesting interpretation of the theme, and quite meaningful in the way that it's presented. So it leaves a lot to think about, and it's certainly deserving of our runner-up this month. So thank you very much, Tony, for your entry. For our winner this month, we've got Turjay. Please do correct my pronunciation. Hopefully it's not too far off, but your winning photograph here is definitely caught our eye. And we've been trying to figure out how this has been photographed. It's certainly very well lit, and that beautiful high contrast black and white really suits this this particular watch, with those standout black letters against the brushed metal. So the way that I think that this is done is that we've got a very particularly lit photograph. The light is coming from only a single direction and just catching that brushed metal, but then I think this is actually highly reflective pieces of metal to make the numbers and the markers, and you've simply managed to not get any reflections at all on those shiny pieces of metal, perhaps reflecting some sort of black background off in the other direction to the lighting, so that it gives that really dark black contrast against the highly lit brushed metal. Let me know if I'm wrong. It could also be inverted. There's a lot of different ways to interpret this without actually seeing the watch itself. So I think that this is just very well lit. It's certainly an eye-catching and striking image, and it's certainly deserving of this month's winning prize. So thank you once again to everybody that took the time to enter September's challenge, but do remember that we have October's theme running right now with that theme of Halloween. So do hit those links down in the description or search for the Adaptalux photography community group on Facebook and enter your photos as a comment on that pinned post. We're really looking forward to seeing what you guys can come up with. Entries are going to be open for a month or so, so do get busy taking some spooky shots. Before I go, I will link to you a couple of videos just here in case you need some ideas or inspiration for what kind of macro photography you can shoot. And all that's left for you guys to do is hit that subscribe button so that you're here in a month's time to find out whether or not you've won. That is all that I've got time for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.